Imagine stepping out of your car into an asphalt parking lot in the middle of July.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's the worst.
Right, and the pavement is like a shoe melting 122 degrees Fahrenheit.
Just completely suffocating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The heat radiating up your legs is, well, it's physically heavy. The air burns your lungs just a little bit with every single breath.
Yeah, I can feel it just thinking about it.
Now imagine someone hands you a ball and tells you to sprint, to jump and fight against some of the most elite athletes on the planet for 90 uninterrupted minutes in that exact environment.
It's honestly hard to even fathom asking a human body to do that.
Right. So today, we aren't just looking at a soccer match. We're looking at a masterclass in human survival, tactical manipulation, and a really brutal changing of the guard. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Our mission today for you, the listener, is to unpack the highly dramatic, narrative-rich 2026 World Cup round of 32 clash between Switzerland and Algeria.
Yeah, because, if you're just looking at the 2-0 scoreline in favor of Switzerland, I mean, a casual observer might just write this off as a routine knockout game. Like, impressive, but routine.
Oh, totally.
But the underlying reality of how that result was achieved is infinitely more complex and, frankly, a bit terrifying when you look at the physical conditions.
It really is. And we're synthesizing a massive stack of sources today to give you the full picture. So we're pulling from tactical match reports by Squawka, some genuinely frightening meteorological data from Algeria on this historic North American heat wave.
Yeah, that data is wild.
We've also got geopolitical analysis on visa policies from The Guardian, and we're even exploring the psychology of sports broadcasting using some rankings from 442.
Because you really just cannot separate the football from the environment it was played in. I mean, the climate dictated the strategy, the geopolitics dictated the atmosphere, and ultimately the media dictated how we all remember it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we get into the formations or like passing accuracy, we really have to establish the physical crucible these teams were dropped into.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a brutal, historic weather event that literally changed the biology of the players on the pitch.
Right. So the meteorological data from Algeria outlines this massive heat dome that was blanketing North America during this stage of the tournament.
It's sitting right over them.
Exactly. Ambient temperatures were pushing past 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 43 degrees Celsius. And stadiums, by their very architectural design, they often act as these giant concrete bowls that just trap and amplify that heat.
The specific details are honestly jarring. Like up in Toronto, there's a stadium with a limited roof expansion that just left 43,000 fans baking in 40 degrees Celsius heat.
Oh, it's so dangerous.
And then down in Dallas, meteorologists were genuinely warning people that the pavement outside the stadium was hitting 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 degrees.
Which is just, the physiological toll on the human body attempting high-intensity interval sprints in those conditions, it's catastrophic.
What actually happens to the body, though, like medically?
Well, when an elite athlete exerts themselves in extreme heat, their body basically has to make a choice. It starts pumping massive amounts of blood away from the working muscles and pushes it toward the skin.
To sweat, right?
Right, trying to facilitate sweating to cool the core down. But in a heat dome, the sweat doesn't evaporate quickly enough, so the muscles are starved of oxygen, the heart rate skyrockets, and rapid dehydration sets in.
Which leads directly to exertional heat stroke.
Yes, and we have to remember, exertional heat stroke is the third leading cause of death in athletes. The body's internal thermostat simply shatters under that level of demand.
Which brings us to FISA's really controversial response to all this, because they instituted these mandatory 3-minute hydration breaks around the midway point of each half.
Right.
They also increased substitutions to 5 per team, and they mandated these climate-controlled cooling zones for the benches. Now, FIFA President Gianni Infantino publicly claimed these breaks were purely for player safety.
Okay.
He said the organization gains, quote, absolutely nothing, end quote, from stopping the clock. And I have to call nonsense on that.
Oh, wait, really? You don't buy this safety argument?
I buy that the players need water. I definitely buy that.
Yeah.
I do not buy that FIFA gains nothing. I mean, I have to ask, are these breaks genuinely saving players, or has the organization conveniently monetized and enforced desert survival mode?
Ah, I see where you're going.
Because every single time that referee blows the whistle for a water break, the broadcast immediately cuts to a highly lucrative multi-million-dollar TV commercial.
Right, the ad revenue.
Exactly. It completely disrupts the entire momentum of the sport just to sell cars and beer, but under the guise of medical necessity. Like, think about just walking across a parking lot in 122-degree heat and then scale that up to sprinting for 90 minutes. It's goldmine for ads.
Well, from a commercial standpoint, your skepticism is totally warranted. I mean, purists hate the disruption, right? Because it breaks that hypnotic flow of a soccer match.
Totally.
However, from a purely physiological standpoint, asking human beings to execute a high-pressing defensive scheme for 45 continuous minutes in a 110-degree furnace, that is medical negligence.
Fair point.
Those 3 minutes, even with the commercials, they allow core temperatures to drop just enough to prevent organs from literally shutting down.
Yeah, that's true. And that biological reality didn't just slow the players down. It completely rewired the tactical blueprint of the game. Because when you can't run, you have to think.
You really do. You have to conserve energy at all costs.
Right. So this match morphed from a chaotic physical battle into this really low-tempo, highly strategic chess match.
And it was a chess match where the two grandmasters sitting on the benches knew each other's playbooks intimately.
Which is fascinating. But here's the thing. Communicating complex tactical shifts on a football pitch usually requires, like, screaming over the deafening roar of 50,000 fans, right?
Normally, yes.
But strangely, that wasn't an issue at Vancouver's BC Place for this game. Because if you've ever watched the Algerian national team, you know their fans are legendary.
Oh, absolutely incredible atmosphere.
It's normally this massive wall of sound. You've got thousands of darbukas with goblet drums, blaring trumpets, and just endless 1, 2, 3, Viva l'Algérie chant. But the stadium was eerily quiet. The massive Algerian presence was just entirely missing.
Yeah, and looking strictly at the geopolitical analysis provided by The Guardian, and I think it is crucial to note to you, the listener, right now, that we're imparting this diplomatic situation purely neutrally from the source. We are not taking or endorsing any political stance here.
Yes, 100%. We are completely impartial on this, just reporting the facts from the article.
Right. So, impartially speaking, the lack of fans essentially came down to a sudden bureaucratic wall.
Because the Trump administration had previously pressured Algeria to accept the Moroccan autonomy plan concerning Western Sahara. And because of that diplomatic friction, there was no sitting U.S. ambassador in Algeria leading up to the tournament, which is a big deal for travel.
A huge deal.
Crucially for the fans, this triggered a steep $15,000 visa bond requirement for Algerian tourists who are seeking entry into North America. I mean, $15,000 just to get a visa.
Yeah, and while that steep bond was eventually waived in May for official World Cup ticket holders, the bureaucratic machinery just moved way too slowly.
It was too late.
Exactly. The waiver came too late for the masses to organize transatlantic travel. As a result, the Algerian squad walked onto the pitch without their famous 12th man, leaving this relatively quiet stadium where you could literally hear the coach's tactical instructions echoing across the grass.
And those tactical instructions coming from Algeria's coach, Vladimir Petkovic, were wild given his history. Because Petkovic actually managed the Swiss national team for 7 years, right? From 2014 to 2021.
Yeah, he laid the very foundation for the squad he was now trying to eliminate.
He knew their vulnerabilities perfectly.
He really did. And Petkovic recognized that playing a traditional system in this intense heat against a Swiss defense he himself helped build that would be tactical suicide.
So what did he do?
Well, he deployed a strikerless formation. She essentially pulled his forwards back into the midfield, relying entirely on agile, highly technical players to just keep the ball.
But explain how that actually helps them in the heat, though. Like, why abandon your goal scorers when you need to win?
Because the ball doesn't sweat.
Oh, I like that.
Right. If Algeria has the ball, Switzerland has to chase it. By overloading the midfield without a traditional striker, Petkovic forced the Swiss center backs to step up out of their defensive line to find someone to mark.
Trying to tire them out.
Exactly, hoping to exhaust the Swiss players and pull them completely out of position.
But Murat Yakin, the current Swiss coach, saw right through it. It's like Yakin built a Venus flytrap.
That's a great way to describe it.
Because he essentially handed Algeria the ball. Like, Switzerland finished this match with a tournament low 44% possession. Yakin just let Algeria comfortably pass the ball around the middle of the pitch lulling them into this false sense of security.
Yeah, the Algerians are out there thinking, we're dictating the tempo. We are in command of this game.
When in reality, they were expending precious mental and physical energy in a sweltering heat dome against a really fortified five-man midfield.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is how ruthlessly the Swiss executed this trap. Let's look at the first fatal error in the 10th minute.
Okay, set the scene.
So Algeria's playmaker, Fares Chaibi, receives the ball. He's looking around for a teammate. The heat is literally radiating off the pitch, and he slightly underhits a routine pass.
And Revo Freuler doesn't even hesitate.
Not for a second.
He reads the weight of that pass instantly, intercepts it, and the trap just snaps shut. Switzerland explodes out of their static defensive block into this blistering counterattack, and Briel Embolo taps it into the net, 1-0.
The second goal is an even more punishing example of that heat-induced fatigue. This time, Ben Sebaini misplaces a pass inside his own penalty area.
Which you just can't do.
Right. Dennis Zakaria intercepts, drives a cross in, and an Algerian defender, Balgali, attempts to clear it. But his legs are heavy, you can see it.
The fatigue.
Exactly. The clearance is incredibly weak, falling perfectly to Dan Ndoye, who just smashes it home. 2-0.
But, the Swiss didn't just sit back blindly. I was looking at the tactical heat maps from Squawka, and they show a really specific asymmetry in how Switzerland attacked when they did win the ball back.
Oh, yeah.
Because in their group stage wins against Bosnia and Canada, the Swiss utilized the entire width of the pitch. They were everywhere. But against Algeria, they heavily, almost exclusively, built their attacks down the left flank. Why deliberately cut off half the field?
Because Yakin identified that Algeria's strikerless system was super vulnerable to press-resistant players. On the left side, Switzerland deployed Manuel Akanji, Ricardo Rodriguez, and their captain, Granit Xhaka. These are incredibly composed, veteran players. By forcing all their play down the left, Switzerland essentially acted as a magnet, drawing all of Algeria's pressing midfielders over to one side of the pitch.
Oh, I see. You bait them into the deep waters on the left, you exhaust them trying to win the ball from Xhaka, and then once they're fully committed, you rapidly switch the ball to the empty space on the right for a counterattack.
Precisely. It was an absolute masterpiece of energy efficiency. You make the opponent run the furthest distance possible while your core players dictate the angles.
Wow. As brilliant as the tactics were, though, the starkest contrast on that pitch wasn't just strategic, it was generational. We basically watched a literal passing of the torch in international football.
Yeah, the dichotomy between the two central figures in this match was unavoidable. On one hand, you have Johan Manzambi, the 20-year-old Swiss phenomenon.
This kid is playing at a different speed than everyone else. He plays for SC Freiburg, and he provided the assist for that first goal with a turn of pace that just left the Algerian defenders looking like they were running in wet cement. And the numbers he is producing are staggering. 5 goal involvements in just 4 matches.
To give that some historical weight, he is the youngest player to achieve those numbers at a single World Cup since 1966. He is statistically outpacing the legendary breakout tournament that Kylian Mbappe had in 2018.
And the transfer rumors are already exploding. Like, Newcastle is reportedly preparing a 50 million toppy bid.
I saw that.
Arsenal and Chelsea are circling. There are even reports that Thomas Muller personally recommended that Bayern Munich sign him. Manzambi single-handedly drove Switzerland to their first World Cup knockout win since 1938.
Which is a massive milestone for a nation that usually hits a hard ceiling in the round of 16.
Squawka actually highlighted a crazy piece of trivia about that ceiling. Switzerland is the only team in World Cup history to be eliminated from a tournament without conceding a single goal.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Back in 2006, they went out on penalties to Ukraine after 4 straight clean sheets.
That is heartbreaking.
Right. But Manzambi ensured no penalties were required this time. He was just relentless.
And standing on the exact opposite side of that relentless youth was the setting sun of Algerian football, right? Their 35-year-old captain, Riyad Mahrez.
The contrast was almost cruel to watch. Mahrez, who's currently playing for Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia, was visibly struggling with the physical toll of the tournament.
Yeah, he couldn't complete a full 90 minutes during the group stages.
And in this match, right after the Swifts scored their second goal, Mahrez had a golden opportunity to shift the momentum. He found himself with the ball in a central position. A classic Mahrez setup, but he fired the shot straight into a defender.
It was just missing that final fraction of a second of sharpness that really defined his career at Leicester and Manchester City.
And he actually announced his retirement from international football immediately after the final whistle. He walks away with an incredible legacy, though. 119 caps, the second highest goal scorer in Algerian history, and the captain who lifted the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations.
Absolutely legendary.
But here's where it gets really interesting, though, because the media immediately spun this as the classic, young king dethrones the old king narrative. We just love crowning the next prodigy.
We really do.
But are we doing a disservice to Mahrez here? Like, are we too eager to elevate a 20-year-old kid who's having one great month, while simultaneously viewing a decade of proven, elite brilliance from Mahrez as suddenly obsolete? I mean, Mahrez is a Premier League champion. Manzambi is just a very expensive prospect right now.
Well, the recency bias in sports media is absolute. A player's entire legacy can feel completely overshadowed by their final fatigued performance. But if we connect this to the bigger picture of the tournament, this match didn't prove that Manzambi is historically a better footballer than Mahrez.
What did it prove then?
It proved that the environment is the ultimate arbiter. In a tournament subjected to a 110-degree heat dome, requiring constant pressing and transition sprints, the cardiovascular system of a 20-year-old will inherently outlast the cardiovascular system of a 35-year-old.
That makes total sense.
The climate demanded youth. Mahrez's mind knew exactly where the space was, but his legs, heavily taxed by the heat, simply couldn't get him there fast enough.
That distinction is vital. But as fans, we rarely make that physiological distinction on our own. We heavily rely on the voices framing the action on our screens to tell us how to interpret a moment like Mahrez's final walk off the pitch.
Oh, definitely. The raw athletic competition is really only half the product. The broadcasters and pundits act as the curators of the sports mythology.
Yeah, and for the U.S. audience, the FS1 crew was steering the ship for this game. You had JP Dellacamera providing the play-by-play, Lori Lindsay offering the color commentary, and Dr. Joe Mocknick breaking down the refereeing.
Yay.
But looking at the 442 rankings of the UK's top 10 pundits gives us a really brilliant window into how modern football analysis actually works globally.
Yeah.
It's not just retired guys in suits drawing arrows on a screen anymore.
No, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it has evolved into a highly orchestrated ensemble of personalities, each serving a very distinct psychological purpose for the viewer.
Take Gary Neville, who is ranked number 1. He perfectly represents this analytical evolution.
Yeah.
He isn't just diagramming formations, he's building overarching narratives about club culture.
Yes.
While also, maintaining this massive cultural relevance through viral Dua Lipa TikToks. He makes the tactics accessible. Then you have Jamie Carragher at number 2, who attacks his Monday Night Football touchscreen with this aggressive, visceral energy, like shouting, "There!" in his Scouse accent to highlight a player's mistake.
And then you contrast those analytical minds with someone like Roy Keane, who's ranked number 3.
Oh man, Keane.
442 describes Keane as a hand grenade in the ball pit, which is perfect.
That is so accurate.
He isn't there to explain a false nine system. He is there to enforce an emotional baseline. He provides the outrage when a team lacks passion.
Or look at Thierry Henry at number 4 on CBS, bringing this suave Hollywood charisma that makes the Champions League feel like a luxury brand.
Exactly.
And we can't ignore the emotional curators. Ian Wright at number 5, who literally wore a kimono to the 2002 World Cup final broadcast.
But I remember that.
He brings pure, unadulterated fan joy. Then Micah Richards at number 6 offers this booming, infectious laugh that cuts through the tension in the studio. And Peter Crouch at number 7, he humanizes the sport with self-deprecating storytelling about his own awkwardness as a player.
When you combine these archetypes, they totally dictate the emotional landscape of the audience. Like, when Gary Neville dissects a defensive line, you feel intellectually engaged.
Yeah.
When Roy Keane glares at the camera in utter disgust, you feel the weight of a team's failure. When Ian Wright gets teary-eyed watching a young player succeed, you feel the magic of the sport.
And that is exactly what you, the listener, need to remember the next time you turn on a match. You aren't just watching 22 athletes kick a ball around. You are consuming a highly produced, carefully curated drama.
Perfectly said.
Those pundits are subtly telling you how to feel about Manzambi's breakthrough or Mahrez's tired legs. They literally write the history of the game in real time.
Because the players provide the raw material, the coaches design the framework, the environment dictates the pace, and the media creates the legend.
Which basically brings our journey today full circle. We started by exploring a terrifying 110-degree North American heat dome that pushed the boundaries of human cardiovascular endurance.
Yeah, we did.
We navigated the complex geopolitical visa policies that silence an entire fan base. We dissected Mirat Yakin's tactical Venus flytrap that lured a tired Algerian midfield into fatal mistakes.
It's a great tactical battle.
We witnessed the torch being passed from a weary icon to a 20-year-old prodigy. And finally, we looked at how broadcasters curate all that sweat and strategy into the stories we remember forever.
It really forces you to look beyond the tuner scoreline, and it actually raises an important question that I think builds on everything we've analyzed today, particularly the exertional heat stroke and the changing climate.
Oh, yeah. What's the question?
Well, if extreme weather events and heat domes become the standard operating environment for summer World Cups, the fundamental nature of the sport is going to change.
How so?
We might be approaching a threshold where the tournament is no longer won by the nation with the most skillful starting 11. Instead, the World Cup could be won by whichever team's sports scientists, nutritionists, and conditioning coaches can best manipulate human physiology to withstand 50 degrees Celsius environments.
Wow.
I mean, could international football soon become a grueling endurance survival test first and a game of skill second?
That is a terrifying thought. So what does this all mean? It means the next time you sit down to watch a massive tournament, look deeper than the goals. Look at the heavy legs in the 80th minute. Look at the shadows stretching across the searing pitch and question the narratives being handed to you by the voices on the screen. The real battle is often happening against the elements and in the minds of the coaches waiting for the trap to snapshot. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay cool out there, keep questioning what you see, and we'll catch you next time.